So I'm currently working on a video about some of the good things that have been implemented into Battlefield 5 and some of the things that are on their way and are encouraging additions, and whether this marks a turning point for the game, or if you already feel like that, I guess whether it's going to improve the game even more for you. And there's some genuinely good stuff here and coming, and yeah, it's great, it's refreshing to hear about. But whilst working on that, I've been almost constantly receiving comments about something that's currently significantly affecting some players' enjoyment of Battlefield 5, plus I've been actively encouraged by some to address it, as they feel like it's not been properly acknowledged, I guess, and they're getting somewhat concerned and frustrated with the lack of coverage of it from DICE. And I figured, honestly, that seemed fair. So in the interest of open and impartial coverage of the game, I figured I'd create this video and then follow it up with my video about some of the more positive aspects of the game within a day or two. And I also have a suggestion that may help to fix or improve the main problem that players are having, specifically on PC. So what is this problem? Well, as I said, there's a main issue and then there are some surrounding ones. The main one is what I'm going to call a stutter bug, or a stuttering issue. Basically, some players are experiencing micro freezes and FPS drops whilst playing, to the extent that it's become quite a problem for them. I don't think it's all players or anything like that, or not to the same extent for everyone, but enough for me to have noticed at least. And let's quickly cover the possible solution for people that may need it on PC, and this is specifically on PC, before we get into more detail on the issue. So I had this sent to me by a very helpful dude on Twitter named Snook the Baddie, I believe. He's a PC player, and he said his stuttering appeared to be caused by a standby memory issue. I'll leave a link in the description and my pinned comment for the instructions on what to do to follow what he did. He said that when he carried it out, his stuttering improved a lot, but he still has about 20 FPS less than he used to have before the recent patch to BF5. Now, if you do that and it works for you, then great. If not, then I guess you'll have to find another way or wait for a patch. Now, I'm not experiencing this problem. Actually no, I'll explain properly. I have had a few, what I call micro freezes and FPS issues here and there, usually after a kill or doing some specific activity. But I figured it was just another, little bug, and it hasn't been as frequent for me as for some others it seems. I basically just thought, oh, this is another, small little annoying problem, and just pushed it out of my mind. But then I started to see others talking about it, initially many recognized Battlefield content creators, and so I started to take a bit of notice. But with my stutter problems not being particularly severe, I decided to get feedback from others. And from doing that, the first thing that really struck me was that I thought this was a PC specific issue, like at least, the extreme end of it, as most BF creators are on PC and I guess I'm more likely to see their discussions about it. But actually, it seems to be happening on all platforms. I received feedback from those on the original PS4, PlayStation Pro, PC, Xbox One X, basically everywhere, ranging from just a few freezes here and there to pretty significant FPS drops overall. To be more specific, a lot of people mention significant stuttering issues when there's a lot to process on screen. So like busy capture points, like the bridge on Twisted Steel for example. There's usually a lot of people on there's a lot of fighting, a lot of explosions, it's got to render all the trees still and blah blah blah, there's a lot there. But then there's also many people mentioning micro freezes when killing someone with a tank. That's a very, very common one I saw. Also when getting kills on stationary weapons, there's like a little hesitation after getting the kill where you can't do anything. Or when doing an action that's tracked by the tides of war, there seems to be a stutter. And just, when there seems to be a lot of explosions taking place is a problem. Something that seems to affect the artillery strike at times. Now obviously this could become quite irritating, and I've seen some people say it's making the game basically feel different to them in an unpleasant fashion. And this brings back memories of the pretty huge stuttering issue that Battlefield 1 had at one point. I don't think this is as bad as that was, at least not from what I've read and been told by most, but a few have said it's similar. And either way, it seems patience is wearing thin, especially with there having been, apparently, not much decent feedback or real acknowledgement of the issue by DICE themselves. It's not exactly helpful for the reputation of the game to have another bug added to the extensive list so far, 6 months into its lifespan. So some feel this problem came in with the recent patch to the game, some feel the overall experience has become increasingly worse over the past 2 or 3 patches, some think this could be caused by driver issues, old consoles, and all sorts of stuff. What's clear though, is that it seems to come down to the game itself. This didn't used to happen, and now it does. So I imagine the only solid fix for it will have to come in the form of a patch or a hotfix. You may well be able to improve your experience, especially on PC, but in terms of eradicating it for all, it looks as though this lies at DICE's door, and we have to wait for them to get onto it. I certainly hope it's going to be fixed soon for the sake of those that are really struggling with it, and especially with the new map coming out and people want to enjoy that and all that sort of stuff. But this isn't the only only issue that's frustrating players right now, and I may as well cover the others in this video for those who are suffering with them, and then, as I said, my next update or analysis piece will be far more focused upon the positives. So, there's the return of a black screen problem. This one I'm also personally aware of myself, I've had it a lot. When loading into a game, you have the UI overlay, but no image of the map itself or anything like that. It's just black. It's kind of a minor thing in my opinion, but all of the issues can stack up for a lackluster experience overall, especially when this problem was seemingly fixed before. More pressing though are audio problems, a significant one being the sound of planes flying overhead when there's actually nothing there. This is off-putting for players experiencing it, as they can be distracted by the threat of danger overhead without there being any, or they get used to hearing this and then ignore actual plane danger. You know, it's not great either way. And I've also personally had the noise of a tank flamethrower just play constantly a couple of times, even after the tank is already gone or been destroyed even. Then I think a less specific problem, but one that's become quite irritating, is the apparent backward step the game seems to have taken in terms of hit detection, consistency, and overall netcode performance. This may be something some disagree with or just plainly don't notice, but I've seen many players complaining that the game seems to just be less reliable right now than some other points previously. I definitely feel like I die around corners a lot at the minute. I have experiences of ghost bullets and large delays upon actions such as switching to equipment, or the game dropping inputs when firing semi-automatic weapons. It would be great if these things could be ironed out again, as the game does feel significantly better when this isn't something we have to deal with. And I think this overall is an example of something that the community would like to see change. If people are still playing at this point after over 6 months, and the ride that this game has been on so far, I'd hesitate to guess that most of those players have accepted that this is a buggy game with many issues, but they enjoy the overall experience enough that they deal with it. But that said, they get very frustrated when they see the same bugs arise again later on, or at least bugs of a similar nature. Now, DICE aren't adding bugs to the game on purpose, of course, and it's very clear they're fighting an uphill battle, having been put in an extremely difficult spot of having to release the game way earlier than they initially anticipated. But a real focus needs to be placed upon keeping the reoccurrence of bugs to a minimum. The player base now has little patience for that, and honestly, understandably so. But anyway, if I'm being honest about why people are mad at Battlefield 5 right now, I could add that the community is super divided about the recent addition of the Boys AT rifle, but I've covered that at extreme length now. If you don't know what it is, or you just want to know more about it, check my last 2 videos before this one. And so yeah, over 6 months in and this is where we are. I'm personally in this kind of weird spot of being happy and excited, I guess, about changes this game has received or is gonna receive, but there always seems to be something that gets in the way of it. Hopefully this trend will begin to alter and we can start to see a really truly great game emerge. Will that happen? I have no real idea, to be honest. Only time will tell, but I'll have my fingers crossed for it. And I can say at least my massive crashing issues seem to have subsided now, which were bothering me just last week. Or that's in the game itself rather than in spectator mode, but you know, it's something and I'll take it. And now, what do you think? Have you had any of the problems I've listed today? Are you excited for what's to come in the game, including the new map just around the corner? Let me know in the comments below. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, we now know that the most important thing to do if you want to see more is turn on those notifications with that bell button, as YouTube truly doesn't keep people up to date reliably about subscriptions anymore. But I also obviously would like it if you'd like the video, subscribe, and join my Discord server in the description and my pinned comment. It's a good way to keep on top of things, make friends, and communicate with other members of the community. Now, here's the Board of Awesome for the epic people who support the channel on Patreon. They're all absolute heroes and I love them all deeply and often. If you want to join them on the Board of Awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and my pinned comment. And with that all said, I'm GetGoodGuy and I'll see you next time. Laters. Right, let's be realistic, this video is 9 minutes long. I need a bit more time to make some actual money on it for basically the same content. So rather than stretch out saying, you know, stuff that you've heard before, I've gone on a random word generator. And I'm going to click that and talk about the first word it gives me. Magnitude. The magnitude of the situation is that I need more time on this video to make more money on it, otherwise I can't eat. That is quite a magnitudal. Magnitude is probably not a word. You now understand the magnitude of the situation. I don't know how long I'm talking for here. I haven't seen it. I'm going to click on that to find out. 30 seconds. I need more. 40 seconds, nearly. Oh, I'm filling it up with me saying how long is gone now. I'm just counting for you. You're now listening to me count. On my other screen, I'm watching Funhouse. If you've not watched Funhouse, do watch Funhouse. It's great. Funhaus. This should be how I finish any video that is under 10 minutes long. Like, this is how I'm going to reach Westy levels of videos over 10 minutes. I'm just going to talk about random stuff and hopefully you enjoy it, rather than extending the length of, the content of the actual video. Not that I'm saying that Westy does that. I'm going to land myself in trouble. I'm going to be quiet. Westy's fine. That's long enough. I'm going to go. Bye.